Welcome to Let's Talk Brock.
All right, welcome to this episode of the Let's Talk Brock podcast. Today I am excited to be joined by Dr. Lynn Wells, Provost and Vice President Academic at Brock University. Dr. Wells, thank you for joining us today.
Great, thanks Liam. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. I thought we could jump right into it. If you want to just give us a little bit of context about sort of your educational journey as well as your work experience, basically what's led you to your role at Brock today.
Great, thank you. It's a long story, so I'll try to hit the highlights. I'm originally from Ontario. I grew up near Windsor, Ontario. First generation university kid. So something I have in common with lots of people at Brock. My brother was the first person in our family to go to university, so I'm the second and the first woman. And I ended up going to York for my undergraduate degree. Decided on York because it had a really great combination of English literature, which is my field, but also French. So I have a minor degree in French, creative writing, and I really liked just the feeling at York when I was young. It was a very kind of exciting place. It was very non-traditional. You could do lots of interdisciplinary stuff, and that really appealed to me. So I ended up staying at York for 2 degrees. Honors BA in English with the minor in French, and then a master's degree in English, which I also wrote about a French poet. So it was kind of interdisciplinary there as well. And then had a strange job. When I was 25, I ended up being what was called the administrative officer to the president of York University. And that was an amazing job. I worked for a really superb university president. Who built York really into the powerhouse that it is today. And I learned a great deal from him about what leadership means and what kind of impact you can have on people's lives by being a university leader. So I guess that stayed in my head for a long time. I went from there and did my doctorate at the University of Western Ontario at the time, Western now, in English, and then ended up in Regina, Saskatchewan, at the University of Regina, where I was a faculty member. But because I had the administrative bug in my head, I ended up being put on a lot of committees and then became an associate dean, became the first female dean of the Faculty of Arts at the University of Regina. And then ended up as associate vice president academic, which was a broader portfolio where I had purview over a number of things, lots of interdisciplinary projects, helped to build the new nursing program at U of R, and had a close working relationship with the 3 federated colleges at U of R, which are Campion, Luther, and First Nations University of Canada, which is a federated institution of the University of Regina and is on the University of Regina campus. At least part of it is. Around that time, First Nations University had gone through a really, really difficult time, had suffered a governance crisis and a financial crisis and was on the verge of collapse. And so I was asked to go over in a temporary role for 2 months to help out. And 2 months turned into 7 years. 6 of which I served as vice president academic, and 1 year I spent working directly with the president of the institution. And that was an amazing learning experience to work directly with First Nations people and Métis people, and to really learn about First Nations culture. So that was a just incredible learning experience. Following that, I was at MacEwan University in Edmonton, Alberta, for 2 years as Associate Vice President, Students and Teaching. And that was a role that gave me a real insight into the importance of student supports, the interrelationship between teaching and student support. So areas like mental health, sexual violence prevention, working with the Access and Disability Resource Office, working on innovative pedagogy, and so on. So really broadened my experience a great deal. And I was happily doing that job when I got a call from Brock University saying, would you consider applying? And I was happy to do that and really grateful to get the role here at Brock.
Yeah, that's excellent. Certainly a wide variety of experiences. You're very well traveled across Canada, which is awesome as well. Now, so you've been in your role at Brock for just under a year now, so you've had a good amount of time to sort of feel it out. What would you say some of the responsibilities are that come along with your role now?
Certainly. So, my role as Provost and Vice President Academic is similar to that at any Canadian university. I said I served in really the same role at First Nations University for 6 years, so have that experience. What a provost does is essentially is provide leadership to all of the academic side of the house. In the first instance. So I work with the deans to make sure that the work of the faculties is running smoothly. With the library, of course, with an array of student service areas. So at Rock, Career Co-op and Experiential Education, Center for Pedagogical Innovation, mental health supports, student life, athletics, sport and rec, a wide range of areas on the academic side. So that's the main part of the job. I also, in my role at Provost, as Provost at Brock, I work with the Government and Community Relations Office, which reports to me. So that's a really important interface with the community. The other side of my job is really serving as part of the executive team, working with the president, supporting his work with the board, fulfilling the terms of the strategic plan, um, being part of the public face of the institution, so meeting with my counterparts across the province, serving on provincial and national committees, and just providing executive leadership as part of a team with the president and the other vice presidents.
Sure, yeah. So definitely a lot on your plate. It seems like you're wearing many hats here at Brock, which is great.
It's okay.
Yeah, you can handle it, right? So, you mentioned when you were choosing York University originally, it was, due to the programs that you were interested in, and then you really just liked the campus feel, right? So, if you could sort of put yourself in the shoes of a current, student in grade 11 or grade 12 looking to start their post-secondary journey, what's one piece of advice that you'd offer them when it comes to choosing where they'd like to go?
Right. Well, of course, I would tell them to choose Brock first, but yeah, I think there are a lot of things that you need to think about when you're thinking about post-secondary education, whether it's university or college. One of the most important things is program, right? There are other elements, the campus life, location, affordability, all those things that you need to think about. But I think where you really need to put your thoughts first is what program do I want? Right? What kind of education am I looking for here? And Brock has such amazing programs in a wide variety of areas. So, I mean, obviously, you said you're in sport management. That's a very high profile program for Brock. But we have great programs across math and science, humanities programs, teacher education, all through this, many great social sciences programs at both, graduate and undergraduate level. So, when a student looks at Brock, I would say the first thing they should look at is what program or programs really attract me here. And to focus on, and on following that. It's great that, I mean, Brock provides so much around that. In addition to the really high quality academic programming, there are tremendous student services at Brock. For 3 years in a row, Brock has been the national leader in the comprehensive university category for mental health. This year we were second for student services overall. So you're going to get a tremendous student journey at the same time. So it's that great combination of the program and the environment. And there's lots of positive at Brock. One thing I would just like to flag is that we are developing a new engineering program as well at Brock that we'll have up and going in a couple of years. And we think that will open up some really exciting opportunities for people wanting to come to Brock. And we're also developing a new site in Burlington that will give more accessibility to people from Greater Toronto area as well.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely some very exciting stuff in the works here at Brock. Now, I personally, this is my first post-secondary journey. So for me, the big thing that strikes me about Brock is experience, right? So
Mhm.
you're not just learning, you're not just getting a degree, but you're getting really valuable experience, making great connections. So I'd be curious to hear from somebody like yourself who's been around to, a number of other universities. Is that something that makes Brock unique, or is there any other sort of aspects that really jump out to you that make Brock unique?
Certainly. Brock really is known as a national leader in experiential learning. That was, in fact, one of the things that I knew about Brock before I came for the job interview, because in fact, I had an employee who worked for me at MacEwan University who had come from Brock, and she brought so many innovative ideas from Brock. So I knew that there was a lot of strength in the experiential learning area. Since I've come working with our career co-op and experiential education office, I can see that they're really state of the art in terms of making sure that really every student at Brock has an opportunity to have some kind of learning experience while they're doing their program, whether it's an internship or a project or a co-op, or there are just many ways that CCE works to give experiential learning a high profile at Brock. So certainly that's something that really makes Brock stand out. I would say something else is our community engagement. Brock is very much embedded in the Niagara region and really serves this region. And we have great relationships with local industries. So, for instance, the wine and grape industry, right? We have a tremendous research center that supports that industry. We're working with more and more local industry partners in the development of engineering and other programming. So, the sense that not only are you getting that experiential learning, but you're getting to meet potential employers and building relationships as you're a student.
Yeah, that's awesome, and that definitely jumps out for sure. Just being a current Brock student, you really feel the community connection in St. Catharines, but also just in the broader Niagara region as a whole.
Absolutely.
So I just have one last question before we go. This is a question I like to ask to all the guests when they come on here. I might adapt it a little bit just because I know you haven't necessarily been on campus all that much so
Oh,
far. So I like to ask, what's your
so
favorite spot on Brock's campus? And for you, I'm going to ask, rather than that, because you might just say like your office, which is might be the only place you've been.
well, see,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what are you most looking forward to when everybody gets back onto campus and everything is sort of back to normal?
Oh, that's an easy one for me, Liam. You know what I'm really looking forward is just seeing students.
Hmm.
I really miss the energy and excitement that comes from having students on campus. I was on Brock campus on the move-in day in the fall, and just seeing students walking around with their parents moving in, excited about being there. It lifted me up so much. This has been a tremendously hard year for students everywhere, and I really appreciate that what students have gone through. I can hardly wait until we can get our student population back on campus and just feel that energy and that sense of community and the excitement of going to university, which is an amazing thing to do.
Yeah, certainly. I definitely sort of echo that. I mean, for me personally, my favorite thing about being on campus is just walking through the halls and just the little interactions you have with, your students and staff members that you see.
Yep. I'm also
Uh,
looking forward to the Starbucks being open.
yes, yes, me too. That would be great. Yeah,
Black with
that'd be
coffee. Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. So, Dr. Lynn Wells, thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing your Brock experience with us today.
Thank you so much, Liam. Great to talk with you.
All right, take care.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining us. If you have any questions, you can contact us by email at futurestudent@brocku.ca.